Welcome to Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush.
Welcome back to the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush. We have our second guest on today. We're excited for them to come on. As I said, we have well above 8 million viewers and listeners in 18 countries, and I believe it is 182 cities around the world. So we're really excited about that as we just wait for our next guest to come on, the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush. She's in recording. Let me allow them to come into this podcast. Participants, admit. Should be coming on right here in a second.
Okay.
Let me take.
That's perfect right there.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
Good. You know what? I'm going to rename myself because we are actually no longer.
Hold on one second. Let me pause it before whatever you say.
Oh, okay.
I'm recording. Hello. Welcome to the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with I'm Brandon Rush, my mom.
Mama Rush, how are you all?
Hey, Mama Rush.
Hey, and then we told us your lovely names today too.
Yes. So I'm Deanna, and
I'm Angel.
And we are owners of apartment.
You're the owners of what? I'm sorry.
So we are the owners of apartment, our boutique here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the name of your boutique. Oh my gosh. Well, first off, congratulations on that, and thank you both for coming on here today. We're excited to have you guys here.
Yes, likewise. We're happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, anytime. So let's tell us about how you guys got started with having this boutique here, which is really impressive. I also want to hear you guys' background, but I figured we'll start with your boutique first.
Yeah, absolutely. You want
Okay.
You go.
So our boutique originally started off as Roam and Dwell, and we recently went through a rebranding and decided to call it Apartment.
Okay.
Which is spelled a little bit different than normal. It's apartment, and the end is MEANT, so it means meant to be a part of.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
So,
great.
so it's A-Apartment. And basically, it's a grouping of our fashion, our love for fashion, our love for art, and our love for home design, interior design.
Okay. I love how you I'm glad you guys said that because the setup you guys have in the background is actually perfect.
Yes.
Beautiful.
It's all intentional. Everything that we curate, everything from the clothing to the artwork to just how this space is arranged. As I mentioned a little while ago, Angel literally just rearranged the space yesterday.
Oh, wow.
It's all about just intention for us.
Okay. Will you go a little bit deeper into the intention with that? Because it looks like in the type of, I guess, art and clothing, what the boutique, just kind of everything.
Yeah.
You have plenty of time. So
Yeah.
If you want to talk about talk about fashion.
Basically, with the overall look, the reason why we said there's intention behind it is it was important for us to showcase our background.
Okay.
So being from the Northeast, born and raised in New Haven, Connecticut, both of us lived in New York City for a period of time and worked out there. That's where I pretty much started my career in a lot of the interior design world. And it just became something that I encapsulated a lot. And then I really wanted to come down here and offer that.
Okay.
When I saw Dee's fashion and what I was doing with homes in art, it made perfect sense to put them together. So basically, the intention is to showcase all the things that we have learned and has helped to develop us to now transpose that information to the rest of the world.
I absolutely love that. I mean, to be honest with you, you guys had me when you said New York because that's my stomping ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a Queens guy. I'm a Manhattan.
Okay, Queens. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
story
I always say
Ditmar.
I'm from the Bronx, even though I was born in New Haven, but I really grew up as a man in the Bronx.
Okay, hey, I love it. You guys had me at that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I was
See, now the accent's coming out.
right.
Yeah.
And Brennan, I was right next door to you and living in Brooklyn. So
Okay, nice.
yeah. So the J train, that was my train going in and out into Manhattan. So
I worked in Brooklyn so much because I filmed Blue Bloods down there and FBI.
Okay.
So for the last 5 years. So I've been in Brooklyn all the time for work.
Oh, that's awesome.
Blue Bloods
That's
was
awesome.
oh man, with Jennifer Lopez in it?
No, that was actually Shades of Blue. But I did work with Jennifer Lopez in a movie called The Boy Next Door, though. But
Okay.
Oh
yeah. But
wow.
let's not worry about that. It's just I want that New York connection I love.
Yes.
So I love the fact that you guys are both from Connecticut. And so what got you guys, both of you all, because you're both from Connecticut, what made you guys get into fashion? So that's where I'm going to actually, let's do a couple things here before I even say that. Let's talk a little bit more about your story. Sorry about that. You're good.
You good.
He's just turning the volume up a little bit.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit more about your story before I get into you guys' background deep. But that brief, I like that. And I love what you guys are doing. You guys are perfect. Got plenty of time here. But so you guys brought that Northeast guy. You guys, that's my.
Yeah.
So I already know.
Brandon loves
kindred
New York.
souls already. You guys decided to bring that down here to the South, which is great because it has a whole entire different feel, as you guys know.
Yeah. For sure. Compared to where we are, for sure.
Yeah.
But before you go there, Mama Rush talking now, but I want to ask you a question. How, Deanna, you said you were from Connecticut as well?
Deanna, yes.
Deanna. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yep. I'm born and raised in New Haven, Connecticut as well. And then I lived in Brooklyn for a little while. And then I came down here to Charlotte.
Okay. And so you two met. We can get into that, but I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see how New York.
Do we have more?
You
we got good time.
you guys got plenty.
But anyway, you have plenty of time. But what made you come to, I guess, North Carolina, or leave New York to go to North Carolina? That's what I need to know before I hear anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. So once I graduated college, I went to school for fashion merchandising after discovering that like being a retail buyer was like, that's what I wanted to do. So I went to school for fashion merchandising. And then it's interesting, I had enrolled in a first-time home buyers program in the Bronx. Okay. And they had a deal happening where like you completed the class and they assisted you with a down payment to buy a home in the Bronx. And so I was like, oh yeah. So I did all that. And then I came down to Charlotte to visit my best friend. She too had just graduated from A&T. Came down here to visit her. And I fell in love with Charlotte. Now this was in 2012.
Okay.
Totally different now than what it looked back then, but it was so refreshing down here. And I was like, I can use a fresh start. So I ended up withdrawing from the first time home buyers program. I ended up moving down here. It was a very spontaneous move. I made a few calls and in a matter of months I was down here and I didn't, besides my best friend, I didn't know anybody else. And of course she ended up picking up and moving back to Connecticut. So then I was by myself.
Yeah.
But it was one of the best decisions that I ever made. I haven't looked back since. I love Charlotte and now I'm here thriving with this boutique and my husband.
Oh, great. So did you meet, and I'm going to ask asking backstories, but did you meet Angel? Angel, how you met your wife in North Carolina?
No,
you knew her in Connecticut?
No, I met her. I met her in I met her in New Haven, Connecticut on the bus.
Really?
Bus. And it was on my way to my first interior design job in Milford, Connecticut.
And I'm sorry, this was back.
This was in
back
2008.
Yeah, 2008.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then we ended up talking from there to make that story short. But yeah, that's
you have to make it short. We have time.
So basically she kept getting on. I kept seeing her and I was always like, taken by her. So I was a little bit different then, so I was a little more edgy. I was
like dressed
kind of like
what?
I kind of like controlled the whole bus. And nobody sat next.
He was hood.
I was just
So yeah, so
I didn't put
made it
edgy with
for-
hood, Brandon. You put edgy with dress.
Yeah, I put it
Yeah,
in the
right.
style.
Yeah.
I didn't put it.
He's like edgy. How?
Yeah.
Too cute.
So
Yeah.
basically, I'm on the bus. This is like my first time coming back into Connecticut from the New York area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we're on the bus and I wanted her to sit with me, but I was kind of shy then. I didn't really know how to get her to do that.
Yeah.
I just kind of like bullied everybody. Not bullied everybody. I made sure nobody on the bus sat next to me.
Oh wow,
And then-
really?
Yeah, so she had to sit next to me. And
Yeah.
the bus was filled up and she had to sit there. So
Dude, that's hilarious.
I
Yeah.
love this.
And awesome. It's awesome and it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
It really is.
Yeah, you,
I've
but
only
you knew,
seen
you knew
that
what
on
you wanted.
TV. I've only seen it on TV, but in the movie.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, so that's what happened. Then we started talking and then we disconnected somehow. We still don't know how we actually broke up, but or stopped talking. But what happened? I went back and forth to New York a lot for work, and I was also doing like club promotions, and I was also still a street dude. And so then fast forward, my career starts picking up as an interior designer a lot, and I kept it for like at least once or twice a year. And
during that time, at some point, I was already moving down here to Charlotte.
So then fast forward to like the pandemic, I had a showroom in Soho at the time, and the pandemic hit, and during that time when it hit, it's like it was abrupt. So I wasn't essential because interior was essential, and so they shut us down. Then the riots happened, and I decided to leave New York because I was worried about my mom and stuff. So I went and got a place in Connecticut.
Okay.
Stayed there for a few months, and then saw her online.
That's how it is these days.
I think we were all listening to DJ D Nice at the time, partying with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama when it was our forever president. But so I was doing that and I saw her, so then I just started to talk to her, then we started showing her all this deep information about each other.
There was wine, there was a lot of wine involved, by the way.
Whiskey.
Okay, good.
Whiskey for you.
Wine.
It was it was I'll never forget, like, just my quick take on it, because I'll never forget. It was Friday, it was March 27th, and the only reason why I remember that day.
Yes, March 27th.
Yeah, I remember that day because when I was still working corporate, they sent us an email on Friday. It was like, hey, listen, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But we need you guys to start packing like some of your things up, because we may have you guys start working from home because of COVID and at the time. And at that time, Charlotte, we were very delayed in terms of getting ourselves together.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now, of course, I'm leaving there. On my way home, I stopped by the ABC store and I'm picking up some whatever I can.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't know, I'm about to lose my job. I don't know what's happening. So, I go home and I get myself settled, and, I start opening up my bottle of wine, and I post something on Instagram, and he responds to it. And then we started DMing and pouring out our love for each other that we had back then, but didn't, really express it enough to say back then. And
Dude, that's awesome.
Isn't that wonderful?
She ghosted me.
Okay.
For 2 weeks. I heard nothing.
After
nothing.
That, had the wine worn off
after that one phone call. I didn't hear a word from her. She didn't respond to a text, a DM, a smoke signal. I sent pigeons. She didn't respond to nothing.
Oh wow, D, what's up with that? I gotta hear what.
Okay, so and every time he tries to make me feel so bad.
I'm working,
but so at the time I was still healing from a previous breakup.
Okay,
and he came in. And Angel, just being the angel, he was just saying, all the right things. And I'm like, No. This is too good to be true. And so
Yeah.
I got nervous. I had cold feet, and yes, it took me some time to respond back to him.
Okay.
So it was about roughly like a week, no more than a week and a half.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And
I remember that's one thing I remember clearly. It was 2 weeks, almost to the T.
Yeah.
But it was so interesting because at the time I'm sitting there like, it was weird. In those 2 weeks, I started to like try to figure out another plan because I didn't know what was going to happen with my career.
Yeah.
Nobody was going back in any homes. The world seemed like it was just done.
Yeah.
So I started to develop a new idea of a business that people can come in, kind of get all the things that they need that I was able to provide.
Yeah.
And I just drew this thing on my wall and I was going to get this thing started somehow and try to get a business where I can kind of like move people like they move in IKEA in and out of the space. And then I got a call a few days before she finally called me back, asking me to come to High Point to
North Carolina.
Yeah.
To redesign the showrooms at High Point. High Point's like the furniture capital of the US. Right?
I bought furniture from there before.
So they had asked me to come down there and help to design the spaces, build the furniture, receive furniture that was coming in, all for cameras, just for cameras to take it, put it online, and people to shop virtually. And they wanted me to kind of help make the spaces look like apartments, which is that we call it this way. But they wanted it to look like that so it was easier to sell and so on and so forth. So that's what I came here and did. So she finally calls me back, and this is in May now. And this is in
from March to May.
That's 6 weeks. I mean, it's March to May.
Right. Yeah. So this is literally in May.
Right. That's what I'm saying. See, so there was a window.
No, we love this. You guys have plenty of time, so we want to hear it all.
I know you got your time.
No, we need this because we have a relationship segment.
Here's the thing.
I love it.
Back when I came down here, because I actually came down here 3 days earlier just to see her.
Okay.
On May 21st. I didn't start there until May 24th.
Okay.
In High Point. I came to Charlotte first. I've never been to Charlotte before.
Yeah.
I come here, mind you, driving a 10-hour ride from the city.
Yeah.
To here. And she tells me she's still working virtually. And I got to wait till 5 o'clock in the town I don't even know nothing about. I was driving around in Concord. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know nothing. I just parked in the parking lot and I'm just waiting until she's. Now, mind you, I come down 3 days early and she still made me wait until 5 to come to our house.
That's wild.
But good things come to those who wait, right?
That's exactly.
Oh, touche.
It was worth it.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
And I greet you with a wonderful kiss.
Yes.
And
yes. It was, it was cool. But it was so crazy because she was definitely not the same person I remember seeing before.
Back in 2008, yeah,
of course.
I'm a grown woman now.
No, but like even her styling of
demeanor.
dress was different. Because her dress when she was up north was just a lot more like.
I'm waiting. This is my first time hearing this.
Oh, we love this.
It's crazy, right? It was a lot more like city-esque, like very edgy, you know. And then when I came down here, she had a sweater on and some tights. But I get it. Everybody was home. But I've never seen her like that before.
Yeah.
Here I come. I'm in like acid wash jeans, a white t-shirt, New York fitted hat. Yeah. I think I had a chain on. Like, you know, I was still.
Yeah, the New York look.
There.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, you know, you can't take us out of where we come from. But absolutely. I was still a professional. And you know, but so then we hooked up and I actually I went back to like see family. And then before I knew it, the stay became longer. I was only going to do 3 or 4 months and then longer and longer and longer. And then in October of 2021, I proposed.
Oh, man.
Man, that is a lovely story.
Beautiful story.
Yeah. We got engaged in Central Park.
Oh, nice.
By
the boat pond.
Oh yeah, I know where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got engaged there, and then we got married almost like 2 years later
Okay.
in our old boutique, our previous boutique.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
This is a whole story and a half.
Yeah, that's
No, we
want
want
the boutique so much, but just how the wedding happened was just nuts.
yeah, it was a beautiful wedding. We definitely weren't expecting as many people.
Yeah. Or for it to go as long as it did. It was a party, and it was a party too. People still talk about this party.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it was a party.
They still talk about this party to this day. We had on our reservation list, I think about like 85 or 86 people.
That's a lot.
Now we had invited more, but a lot of people didn't get the emails, which was weird. But word spread out fast. I went out there because we were running behind a little bit. I forgot why.
I probably rain or something like that. Yeah.
So I went from the back room and I said, well, let me go out here and greet everybody just to calm everything down. Not like everybody's getting hostile, but just to let them know that I'm paying attention to them. I see them there. I thought I only had like family and friends, 80-something people. I opened the doors, walk in there. It's filled from wall to wall, corner to corner.
It
was 250-something people
What?
at our store.
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Customers.
Did you have enough food for that many people?
The restaurant started bringing food.
Yeah. So thankfully we were next door to a restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah, so they looked out for us because
that was great.
Yeah, we were planning on feeding, 90 to 100 people, right? And, but I mean, the restaurant they were like, okay, well, here's our wedding gift to you. We'll just cook for you guys.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wonderful.
It was absolutely nuts. And
it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it was great.
Full of so much love and like just seeing how many people were there. To witness our union, and a lot of people were there. I mean, they saw us, the last 2 years, like building our business in that store. And then to see like, us blossom like into husband and wife, just a full circle moment. Our family, they all came down from New York, Connecticut, and they're seeing our store, not just our store for the first time, but the village that we created, like all of our friends and new family. Like it was such a beautiful thing, and they were just so proud.
Well, that speaks volumes about the two of you all. Your story is so unique, and people had come out of COVID, and to see that they were coming to family again, getting a chance to witness your love and your growth, and that's just such powerful things. And so I commend you both, because I see how you relate to each other. You're talking back and forth, laughing, and that's what true marriages are about. We disagree, but we still will be agreeable.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I mean, like, to be husband and wife and business partners, it's not for the faint of heart. We'll say that. I love my man.
Great job.
But it's still a beautiful thing, and we're just watching each other grow, and we support each other, and between our differences and everything. So it's been a beautiful journey so far.
So the boutique part of it. Now you said this is your second boutique. You had the first boutique. Tell us a little bit about how that concept came about. Was it in New York?
And so that's what's crazy, because that goes back to that thing that was on the wall that I made during the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Angel, will you repeat that one more time? Sorry, man. I think I might have lost one thing in the story where you said this.
So it goes back to when I drew that business idea on the wall.
Oh yeah, you're like almost like a vision board, right?
Like a vision board.
Like I love vision board. I had a whole idea of what I wanted to have in there, what brands I wanted to bring in. I had a whole thing set up, and it was just so crazy because when I go to see her, I didn't know she had a clothing business that she was with, but she had kind of like shelved it a little bit. So then she showed me all of her inventory, and all I saw was like, what? This is dollar signs. We need to sell this stuff. So she really started doing pop-ups after pop-ups after pop-ups after pop-ups. And I was like, I don't care how old you think it is. I don't care nothing. We're going to put this out there. And we sold all of that old inventory.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And then one day, I cycle a lot, and one of the guys I cycle with, he knew I was looking to help out other businesses with like furnishings and interior design stuff. And so he told me to go to this one place, which was actually called then Roman Dwell.
Okay.
And I walk in there and I talk to the lady. And Dee didn't know I was having this meeting. And then, you know, as I'm having a meeting 2 hours later, I always wanted to get her dream. She always wanted a boutique. When I first met her, she wanted a men's clothing store.
Okay.
That's all she wanted. That's all she talked about was she wore a men's watch, and I remember that. And that's like me. So so then I was like, okay, well we're gonna get her this boutique one day.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was gonna be that day. I walked in there, talked to the lady. 2 hours later, I get up to leave from the meeting, thinking I'm just gonna go back, help her get some furniture in there, help with interior design. As I'm leaving, the lady says to me, you know, I think this place would be best for you. Do you want business? Got back there, talked to her for a few more, like 30 minutes more, recorded the whole thing, and got out the building. And I was like, Dee, remember that store we walked into just to say, you know, see that we liked it? And she was like, yeah, the white one. It was a white box building. And I said, it's ours. She was like, what? I was like, just got you a store. She was like, well, how much is it going to cost? I said, nothing right now. We're going to talk the numbers over later. Time, it was just us coming in there and kind of working her out.
Yeah.
Taking over everything else.
Wow.
And then later on, she, you know, she did some flammy crazy stuff and then, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we made the best out of it. We had to reestablish and reinvent what Roman Dwell is so that it worked for us.
Yeah.
We went in and pretty much added our aesthetic, our identity to it. You know, just we added a little bit of seasoning.
Yeah.
So you will. So and so we did that, and then within that we added other facets to Roman Dwell. So we had our furniture, we had our clothing line, and then we opened up an art gallery. And so a lot of the artwork that you see in the background is of an artist who we did. I think he was he was our second solo artist that show for. So and then in between all that, we had all of our events.
Right. And it was crazy because the art thing, which I was skeptical about because we both come from an arts background, but like it's a real passionate thing for us, especially for me. Like graffiti and stuff like that was my we named it the Art Gallery Land, and it was because people like myself, we weren't considered, you know, established artists, or even though we did work better than most, right?
Okay.
So they used to call like when you go graffiti a building, you were defacing it, or you were like, you know, just doing some kind of destruction of some sort.
Yeah.
So we had named our gallery Land, which meant literally art, not destruction or not fun.
This is beautiful.
Poetic.
It was our way of kind of like.
He's great with words, by the way.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm loving it.
We love
he's great. He's great with words. He's great with words.
Oh,
hey, kindred soul, brother, kindred soul.
But it was cool because like I knew it was work. It was right for us because literally the artists walked in there. We didn't go after any artist. They all just walked in the door and was like, hey, we heard you're doing an art gallery, or hey, I see that you're doing something on the walls. I have an art piece. Can I put it up?
Yeah.
And that's literally how it happened.
Oh, wow.
And and we never fished for any artists. Ever.
Man.
Yeah.
They all came in and they all did very well.
Yeah.
Every last one.
This is
and then
wonderful.
people started calling our place the place for artists to land.
Okay.
And it became a really good foundation for the neighborhood and started to really spark, I think, what's now the newer, I guess like the next tier in the or avenue in the art scene here in Charlotte.
Okay.
Because they had a scene going, but it wasn't getting a lot of the notice that it needed.
Okay.
Dee and I put together some events, and I mean, it just took off.
Oh man.
Yeah. And we didn't expect it, you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna make sure to say this. I'm gonna use D too because the short names makes it easier for me a lot of times.
Yes, that's great. That's great.
But if I don't do this, it'd be doing a disservice for my friend who is a family friend of ours, who is an incredible artist. Who does a lot of Afrocentric paintings. His name is Khalid Thompson. He was one of the when I started this Buckle Up podcast universe, my mom and myself, I was like, I have to get Khalid because Khalid is that artist. I'll send him out later today. I will send Joey over his YouTube. He does art. He does Afrocentric paints to music, all kinds of stuff. He is so talented, and I feel like him and you guys connecting would be a special thing. So
I would like that.
Yeah,
I definitely will pass his information to you guys and vice versa.
But and to watch his work, you can see him on
it's beautiful on Instagram, YouTube. I'll send it to you guys.
But he was on the Buckle Up Podcast Universe. He was on our show. And you can see him out there in the woods with his painting, talking and everything. You'll see how laid back he is. Rafa Fia.
Oh,
what do
he's
you call it?
I love him.
Rafa what? What do you call it? Rafa. It's like the Jamaicans.
I thought it was called Afrocentric painting, but
yeah, but I mean he's similar. He acts similar to the people in that. What's that? Rafa something? I don't know what. It's in Jamaica.
I'll send you guys everything.
Anyway.
Yeah. Send us.
You two connecting would be perfect if you're not related to him, because you very well could be related to him, Angel. Because you guys do look a lot like his dad.
Oh,
yeah, and very creative.
That would be something. Yeah,
that would be a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, it really would be small.
I wouldn't be surprised. My father was a Rolling Stone. I have a lot of sisters and brothers.
Yeah.
It's like one popping up every month. But yeah, so that's how we got this thing started. And then Dee just went in and just like, she started giving the city, I'm gonna be brutally honest.
Yeah, you're free to, man.
And I know this is the South, and they don't always take to the direct honesty of the North.
But this guy does right here.
Right. But you know, and
you get it.
Yeah.
And I know I
might. And me too.
And mom too. You're good. Speak freely.
I got you.
Mama Rush wants you straightforward. Don't come giving me that look.
Don't tip
smile and come with something.
You'd be doing a disservice to New York and Connecticut, and we can't have that.
Right. Exactly.
So basically, Dee stepped out and just really went against what was like the norm of attire here in Charlotte. We made sure never to buy like, all these crazy bold prints and flowery stuff and these long baby doll dresses. You're laughing because I'm telling the truth. Because it was starting to get to a point where it looked like a cult. You know what I mean? Everybody's looking the same. And I'm like, there's got to be more than another store out here that does something different.
Absolutely.
And it just wasn't really happening. And she started just pointing out to me, and we would have conversations constantly, that the women weren't really doing things to really flatter themselves.
Yeah.
And so we would get people into the store. They would look in there and they would say a couple of things like, am I dressed well enough to come in here? Well, what is this? And I'm like, what? Is it just come in here and get a glass of wine?
Yeah.
Put them in the dressing room.
Yeah.
He'll put them in the dressing room, and the next thing you know, she's just throwing stuff in there. They come out. I never knew I could look like this.
Just completely transformed.
Yeah.
The one thing, and I'm not saying that Charlotte is the only city that does this, but when if a woman does not realize herself, her identity,
that's correct.
And she is around a circle of women that are doing one thing. I mean, they're all like attracts like.
Right.
And so, I remember there was a pop-up that we did, and there was a cool woman. She you could tell she was very edgy, and she had just gotten back from like spending like a long, like almost like sabbatical, like out in like Milan or something like that. And she picks up a piece off the rack, and it's cool. Like it's not nothing too far-fetched. Okay. And she picks it out. She's like, "Oh, I love this. This is just so me." And I'm like, "You should try it on. You should get it." She's like, "No, because here in Charlotte, like the circle that I'm in, what are they going to think about me?" And I'm like, "Wow, excuse me."
Please. We started to learn, and I'm going to be bold again.
That's my middle name. Angel?
Both, yeah.
Boom.
Is that like a lot of it is because not of like fear or anything like that, but they're longing to have their group of people
Mm-hmm.
that they can relate to.
Yeah.
And it's almost at any cost. So they'll conform themselves to have their group.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A lot of the people here are not from here.
Yeah.
A lot of them are in the banking world and
Yeah.
Or their husbands
and
are.
their husbands are.
My best friend's a banker in
And
Charlotte.
they're just running around golfing and whatever, and the white stuff with this grouping. And then the other bad part is that social media, the more time you have to sit at home and just watch whatever trends on social media, and you get fed more and that and more of that and more of that, that's all you think that exists.
Yeah.
And I believe from what I've been noticing out here, the trendsetters and the fashionistas that were before we got involved were flooding the system with the same crap, trying to make it look like it was like style.
Random.
Right.
At the end of the
High
day, I'm like,
fashion.
man, you coming down here, these guys are like 5-6 years
Behind.
behind.
Yeah.
And which was the same thing I expressed to D when I got down here, and I decided to stop doing High Point, and I was going to start up my own furniture distribution company. And the guy said, Angel, whatever you do, don't worry about Charlotte, though. Work everywhere else. He said, because they don't get it. And I was like, that's not cool. What do you mean they don't get it? And I got down here, and I used to send furniture to clients that were buying in New York to come to Charlotte, Morel, Hilton Head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, what do you mean you don't have the clients? I have books and trucks coming out here every month.
Yeah.
You have the clients. But they didn't. The people didn't believe in what was offered in Charlotte. They would go to New York. And or they'll go to Atlanta and buy. And it wasn't so much that the people didn't want it. The people who were supplying were
gatekeeping it, or like not
well, not even just gatekeeping. They were so stuck in what they
their
had
mindset
that they didn't care if everybody looked alike. They didn't care if everybody's home, restaurant, all that stuff. Like if you think about it, 3-4 years ago, how many of the restaurants looked the same? They had the same stools inside, metal stools, were all different colors, or red.
Yeah.
Or they had the black metal chairs out front. It was all the same stuff. And there was like this push for more design, and more design firms started moving down here. More clothing stores started coming down here. Alexander McQueen came down here, and then all of a sudden now everybody's fashionable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And seeking it. But they just needed that. You know what I mean? But it's 5-year difference in time for them to get there.
Absolutely.
Well, Angel, I heard about High Point. We lived in Virginia for a number of years. And in fact, Brandon was born in Virginia and his brother in Virginia. And I heard about High Point from some friends of mine in Virginia. They said, Carolyn, if you want the best furniture for your home, you need to drive down to High Point. And that's why I said I picked a piece out of High Point. We drove from Virginia to High Point and loved the different furniture that they had, the types, the different styles and everything. And it wasn't anything I could find in Virginia that I really needed for this space I had in our home. And there it was right there in Virginia. And they shipped it to in North Carolina, and they shipped it to Virginia. But I heard about it when I was living there. And so it's like you're not welcoming your own home, almost like that, thinking about the people in North Carolina, not realizing you just go up the street. There's a beautiful place to get furniture.
Exactly.
And so for them to call you to work at that point, Angel, I think about your talent now. I see all, because I saw the different things in there, and I was just amazed. Brandon's dad and I were just amazed at the uniqueness of that whole place. And so with that said, keep on talking. I just had to throw that in.
I'm gonna interject one more thing too, real quick, Angel. Angel and D. I wear these Middle Eastern scarves. If you can see, I wrap them.
I used to wear them all the time.
Angel has
I knew we were kindred souls.
Angel has like 10 of them.
Yeah. So I got some of my one of my friends is Israeli, so she actually brought me some from Israel. So back in 2013, before anybody even thought about it, I was rocking these, right? And I was rocking them at pool parties. So I was in Los Angeles for work. I was living in Los Angeles, and I went to a pool party with my scarf on. And everybody's like, why are you wearing a scarf? Why are you wearing a scarf? And I finally told this group of people from Ireland, I'm like, because I can. Yeah. And when I said that, you could like they had a shocked look on their face, but like, man, that's so cool. Now I wear I wear these I'm the one that started the trend.
Yeah,
you started.
You
started it.
We're gonna give you that
right
now.
here, right now.
Yeah.
You started that trend.
For years, for a decade now, everybody's like, man,
Yes,
I love how you wear the scarf. You dip it in the water, it's coming off your body.
Oh man.
But the girls flock around Brandon at the pool parties in Arizona. Brandon, where y'all?
Arizona, Vegas, anybody has a pool party had the scarf is game over. But it's like Superman has his cape, Batman has his cowl, and Brandon's got his Middle Eastern scarf.
Yes.
So I wanted to just interject that, but I love the fact that you guys had that different side of you guys brought that down. You guys are changing the mold. I'm all about being
right.
If everybody's going right, I am actually going to go left. Because I enjoy going left. Or even when playing video games back in the day, I always took the more difficult route because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it.
Right.
I think you guys are those kindred souls too, because I see that you guys are breaking the molds of what's there. Like, hey, look, they are stuck in, a lot of them are in sororities and fraternities. No offense to them, but they all dress the same in those things.
Yeah.
And in the South, like at least in the like Carolinas area, in Georgia and stuff, in Florida, they have those southern fraternities that like that. So it's nice that you guys are bringing that Northeastern feel down here.
Yes. Like true, like individuality. It's like true individuality.
Myself and my mother, we joke about this all the time. And I don't know if Dee remembers this, but like my mother and I joke about this all the time because after somebody's done with Dee, like in the dressing room and they come out, you remember the Wiz?
I love the Wiz. Yeah, I watched that in Bryant Park in New York.
Huh? No, but remember the part at the end when it starts to rain after the Wicked Witch of the West is killed?
Yes.
And then they come out and they're like, can you see us? It's like, that's how they come out the dressing room. And they start dancing. But literally.
They go in and they're transformed in your
they're
dressing room, D.
It's crazy. And it's not, it's the truth. It's the truth. And it's not that like we're creating this new mold or something like that. It's like they've been stuck behind this rock and they're just afraid to move it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Dee sits there and freaking becomes Diana Ross. And then
absolutely, you Michael Jackson, he's lying. The Scarecrow. By the way,
it's too beautiful.
I watched that movie in Bryant Park. They have movie nights on Monday nights, and we all watched. They had the Wiz. You remember that? They had the Wiz. I watched the Wiz there a couple summers ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
awesome.
I was telling Dee about one time during a Halloween parade, there was a group that came in as the monkeys on motorcycles.
Oh, no way. Really? On the bikes?
Oh, my God. Yeah, they came down the street with it was like 5 of them in unison in that little arrow. And that was like, this is so cool. But, New York parade for the for the Halloween is the best.
It is. It is.
It's nothing like it.
It was hilarious.
Agreed.
But Dee is basically Diana Ross.
So Dee.
Yeah.
But you know what? It is so like this, like that is like my dream. Like I've always imagined and envisioned myself having this beautiful boutique and me being able to change women's lives. And I know that sounds like really drastic.
No, it doesn't.
But like for a woman that has, been coddled like in church growing up, ready to like be a grown woman and step out of whatever comfort zone she was in.
That's right.
And she wants to maybe step out and add a little bit of color to her life, or okay, it's okay to have a slit in your skirt, you know, and or the mom that has this husband that he's a bank bro, which we call here in Charlotte a bank bro, and she has 3 kids and she doesn't know what to do with herself. Like we want her to come here and feel good, right? We give them a glass of wine and you just come and relax and let me show you different pieces that could possibly work for you.
What a great concept for them. You being a stylist for them as well, helping them. And so do you style, and we're going to get back to the rest of the shop, but since we're on the subject of styling people, do you do that for individuals that in their home or on studios, or how does that work for you, Dee?
The answer is yes.
Yes.
That's the right answer.
That's the right
answer.
Yes to everything. I mean, if a woman feels like, hey, listen, I do not have time to break away from these kids, can you just bring a rack of clothes to my house and and curate everything for me? Sure. Or if she says, okay, listen, my husband, he's gonna be home, at at 7 o'clock. Can you leave the boutique open for me and we can have a little private session?
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
great. That's
So
great. That's great.
I want to make, like, getting dressed and having good style, like, easy and this,
Yes, yes.
and attainable. And so that's one of the things that I make sure. And then I feel like too, that's really all about, like, just being of good service.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
excellent.
we can't have this boutique just run by itself. Like, we need our clients, we need our customers. And so the easier that we can make it for them to shop, the better.
That
And,
is
and,
super.
and so now, like, we've even gone as far as discussing, like, us going back to doing pop-ups, but, like, on a more smaller scale. So like, we like a style rack to, like, some of the local hair salons, or like the boutique nail shops, and
That's
things like
great.
that, for women to, just to add another level of experience while they're, getting beautified. So
That
Absolutely.
sounds
I love that.
wonderful. And then I was looking at, okay, so the boutique part, the whole thing is referred to as a boutique, but no, part of it is the whole thing referred to as a boutique. Your whole business, boutique is
No,
yeah.
where you use the
Big-
word, part very well. It is, all of it is a part of the whole entire idea. So it's
Sure.
not just the boutique.
Mhm.
Each one relies on each other. So the boutique, the gallery, the home
That's
goods or interior design services, we kind of have to rely on each other somehow. Right now, what we really focus on the most is the fashion and the art.
okay. The gallery, yes.
Yeah,
The
because
Yeah.
it is, the fashion is what's changing a lot of people right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, it's the one thing that we can sell every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the art is something that became a strong passion of ours because of not just the artists that we have, but we've kind of learned a way to sell and showcase artists where they're not just considered another artist.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of work to develop them or work with them as they develop to be something that's more marketable, valuable. We grow their dollar.
Yeah.
And it's back to the same thing that Dee is doing with the fashion. She's constantly taking it up. And yet, when you take it up in a higher level of luxury, you're going to get higher dollar margins. But she still makes the luxury affordable. You know what I mean? And she does a lot of research to find the right pieces that are going to work for which is crazy and hard. There's no way you can find one piece that works for everybody.
Yeah.
But this is her torment that she puts herself through.
Yeah.
But she does it for you guys. Like, she does it so that people can find something that's going to really work well for them and then still feel unique.
Okay. And I love your concept. I love it.
Yeah, I do too.
I want to ask you, Angel, how do you bring in your abilities to do interior designs in people's homes? How can you bring that piece when you're showcasing in the gallery different things?
When they walk into the store, they can tell there's a designer in here.
Great.
They immediately can tell that somebody designed this place.
Because I mean, it doesn't look like any, like, ordinary, like, boutique or like shopping space. Like, it really looks like you're walking into an apartment, like you're walking into a home, like, minus the appliances, like,
okay.
And I think the only other way is, like, I mean, I know my craft and I know what area I work in that craft, and I have a confidence about it, and I don't stem from that, and I'm always doing research on it. What hurts the industry for me, and the reason why I kind of back away from it now, is the politics of it, the tariffs and the shipping problems, and it's been happening since the pandemic. And it can become costly, it can become time consuming, stressful, depressing, all kinds of stuff because you can't achieve the goal of just making somebody's home look and feel beautiful according to their life without all of these other things that don't need to be involved.
Yeah.
And, you're putting something in somebody's home and that carries energy. And it can change the intent of your design when you have this bad things following a sofa. What I mean? That you had designed that they really want. And now all this other crap follows that. So it kind of, had stifled the idea of pushing it as much.
Yeah.
I found other companies that I can get away from the tariffs and the duties.
Yeah, that's become another factor.
Which is really hard.
Yeah.
It's still very hard, but it's when you get it right, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But I think right now we just really focus a little bit on the design part. Careful with our customers because people, they like certain things, but they don't really like them.
Okay.
When they see these ideas of design, it's what they can go find on Pinterest and say, oh, I didn't know I can actually make a place look like that. And you can do it, but it might not be for your home.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm loving what I'm hearing with the number of how many people we have all over the world, Brandon. How many?
We're above 8. We're above 8 million, and we're getting very close to crossing 10 million. And we're in 18 countries and 182 cities. That as of last night.
So that's why we're so glad you're speaking about your talent now, because this is being seen by so many, and they'll hone in on your skills. Right? I tell you, they will.
Well, I'm sorry if we offended anybody out there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I tell people like this: you either take me or leave me. I'm gonna be 100% all the time. You might not like it, but at least I'm telling you the truth. And then one thing I want to say, actually, a double part here about both of you all. Dee, I wanted to hear where you went to college at, because you never what you went to college at and studied. And then the second part of that is this. Angel, I wanted to say, which is something so important to me, is the fact that you said originally that you were street. But I appreciate you, and the reason I appreciate you saying that is because you see that people out here are listening that feel like, hey, there could be street too, that there's more ways out there. Look how educated you are, even if it's street smart. It might even be college smart, but it's street smarts. It's you were able to see all these things, that you've created those opportunities for yourself. You've also been around people that you listen to, but that is so important because sometimes people think that the street is the only answer. That's the only way out, when you were living proof that there's more out there. If you apply yourself.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
You go ahead. He asked you first.
So I studied fashion merchandising actually at a local community college in New England, Gateway Community College.
Okay.
And I always felt
she
like
originally started off in interior design, which is crazy.
Okay.
Tell where you started. She started
the whole story, not the clip notes.
Okay.
She started in interior design, and truth be told, I actually first indirectly got into fashion.
Okay. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah. So I graduated high school. Most of my friends, they went down like the traditional route, and they went to university, they went to college, all of that. And I told my parents, like, I want to move to New York City. And they were like, well, you still need to figure out some kind of education, because you're not just going to move to New York City and not go to school.
Yeah.
So I did at the time, like after leaving my arts high school, which we both went to.
Oh, wow.
He graduated.
Quiet. Easy.
You don't have to say the year. You don't have to say the year.
Let's just say, Angel is, he's a little bit older than me. So he graduated that high school.
From arts high school.
Arts high school, yeah.
So that means that you guys already came in there with a level of that's not something you have to either audition for, right, or something?
So I had to
at the time. Yeah.
Wow.
So I had to audition to get into the school, but when he came in, they did lotteries, which was good and bad. It got a whole lot of people into the high school that probably needed to be there.
Yeah.
It also kept a lot of people who should be in there out.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I ended up going to the New York School of Interior Design. It was right on 70th, East 70th.
Wait, would that be NIT? Would that be called NIT?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
it was
NSID.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
NYSID,
Yeah.
Okay.
NYSID.
NYSID.
Yeah, it was right 70th Street and I think Lexington, 70th and Lexington. Anyway, so I went there. I got a certificate in that. I was like, okay, look, mom and dad, see, I went to school.
Yeah.
And then, but also at the time, I was working for a home goods company called Gracious Home, and so I started off there retail, and then they moved me to the corporate office, and that's when I got like firsthand experience with retail buying.
Okay.
And I didn't really know like what that was about until I had to assist the buyer with curating merchandise that would go into all of their stores. And Gracious Home at the time, they had stores like in the Upper East Side, in the Lower East or West Side, something like that. And so, you know, me along with this buyer, like we were in charge of like curating what went into all these stores, and I just fell in love with that. And so my time ended up, you know, ending there in New York, and I moved back to Connecticut, and I said, I need to learn more about this buying thing.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going to school to Gateway Community College and got my degree in fashion merchandising and retail management, and worked retail up until 2012. Moved to Charlotte to get a change of pace, change of scenery. Applied for a few buyer positions here in Charlotte. And at that time, it was very competitive because down here they had Belk,
Macy's,
Ross, Cato.
Yeah.
So and Family Dollar. So it wasn't there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to do it. And so I interviewed and didn't get any yeses. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to become a buyer and curator for my own company.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So 2016, I launched my former brand, Halsey Street & Co., which was derived from me. My J train stop was Halsey Street in Bushwick. And so, so it was really cool. And so I had launched my clothing brand, and, you know, as Angela mentioned, like kind of like just did my pop-ups and everything. I tabled it for a little bit because I ended up working, I got a 9 to 5 ultimately, and kind of tabled it, but got stuck with like all this merchandise that I was just sitting on. Money, like he said, I was sitting on all this money. And so, you know, fast forward, him coming down during COVID, and he encouraged me to get back into it.
That's what it takes.
But then I was still on a whole New York minute type time. Like everything was a rush.
Yeah, man.
She was constantly telling me to slow down.
Yeah, see, and
you can't always slow down though.
Right. But you know what? When I first moved down here, I had that mentality. And then over time,
it slowed,
because people
Charlotte just slowed me down. I was like, okay,
exactly.
well, you know, if I sell it, I sell it. If I don't, I don't. And
Angel, you had to take off the New Yankees cap. You had to put it on top of her head again.
Yeah, right.
I know, right? Remember where you are. Remember where you're from.
Yeah.
Put the gold chain on me.
Yeah,
and I was
exactly.
Like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, Raising Cane's.
Yeah.
Well, Angel, what you did, you both did for each other. Okay, you brought that energy back.
Yes,
and
he did.
So
he did.
I always say, listen, I have to not let people change who I am. Okay. I'd rather change them first. Okay. I'm going to change you because I think if I change you, it's going to be for the better. That's all I had to say, and not the other way around. And I'm originally from South Carolina, but I was recruited to go work for DuPont in Delaware straight out of college. And so with that said, I got a rude awakening right up, because when we went to Delaware, I would be speaking to people all the time, and they'd look at me like, girl, if you just don't stop this speaking to people. And that was just my way. but they would love to hear me with the Southern accent. Eventually, I lost some of it, but it wasn't a big deal at any rate.
Yes.
But with that said, then we moved to Virginia, and the people were so progressive going into Virginia as well. So it was just a shock to come back here about 5 years to South. I've been here about 5 years back in South Carolina, and everybody is moving at a slower pace. And I thought things would have changed because I've been gone for over 30 years. So I said, no, and they haven't. And so I said, well, sir, it's not going to change me back to that way. No way.
Nope.
And I was never really like that. I was always a progressive kid wanting to do things. And so I'm just glad my life led me in different directions.
Yeah.
But with you all, I'm looking at you. The first Angel, how did you get your name Angel? Is that your last name? Someone calls you Angel because you act like an angel, or what is it?
Is that your street name?
No,
It's a mess.
I'm just messing, Angel. I'm messing.
yes and yes. But so basically, my father is named Angel.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And my middle name is Adam. My mother wanted my name to be Adam first. And then but my father really pushed for it to be Angel.
Okay.
Just made it Angel Adam.
I love the name though.
It is. I love it. It's such a unique name. The first time I've ever heard a man called Angel.
Oh, then you need to go to the Bronx. Everybody's Angel.
Oh, really?
but now what I want to do, Brandon,
I'll make sure Angel went into a story, Mom, about.
I'm sorry, Angel.
Yeah, Angel. I think the question I asked you about how I was telling how I love the fact that you're an example of a person who might have been streetwise, who changed, who went into their passion. So from that, even with the graffitiing, because that's big in New York, and that's a form of artistry too, in Chicago too. And so how you transformed all that into like this force of nature that you guys are as a couple.
So wow. So I was born in the 80s. I was born in 1980 actually, and then like growing up in the 80s in the projects.
Oh wow.
New Haven, Connecticut, which at the time was a very, very rough neighborhood, rough city. And my mother was literally Claire Huxtable.
Okay.
Kind of looks like that. My mother was literally that, without the job as a lawyer. Right? Okay. But she was out there working her butt off. She was young. She, I mean, when she was 18, right? My father was in the streets. And also a very smart man. He had a job, all this other stuff, but he got into the streets.
Yeah.
And so I grew up in this weird world where I saw both sides of the track.
Yeah.
And none of those sides wanted me to not see the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't know I was a street dude until I left the neighborhood, until I went to college.
Yeah.
After I got out of college. And started to pursue my career actually in culinary arts.
Okay.
So fast forward to, let's back up real fast. And
you're good, man. Yeah, you have all the time because you guys' stories amazing. Both of you guys' stories amazing. That's why I'm asking for it.
So in the 80s is like when the hip hop world became its thing.
Yeah.
Right? I grew up in that birth of that, right?
Yeah.
So watching people break dance in the street, friends were doing music. My cousins were producers and musicians and friends who were rapping on the corner and watching, like, at the time, playing itself out in the street, with real live, gangs and people and living, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what hip hop did for me was it embodied what we had as our outlets to be seen. In its truest form is one of the four pillars of hip hop, right?
Okay.
We did graffiti or our artwork as a way of being able to be seen. We want to be known. We didn't want to die and be forgotten, right? We didn't want to be lost or nobody hear our story.
Yeah.
Graffiti became that outlet. People doing, everybody seeking to be a hip hop artist or a DJ or a break dancer or whatever. Because once we got to see it on TV, we kept saying, oh, these are the guys we grew up with. I could do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. PMD from EPMD is from New Haven.
Really?
You know what I mean? So knowing how all this stuff was happening, these people were coming out of there, Same guy from Leaders of the New School, but with Busta Rhymes, a dark haired one. He's from New Haven.
Okay.
So, you know, we were seeing all this stuff happen. And my only art form that I fell in love with was not just graffiti, but comic books. And so I didn't even know I could draw until like somebody was like, yo, you're a good artist.
Really?
I used to just do stuff, but I didn't think it was art. I just thought I was just, you know, drawing whatever. And my good friend Juan, he was doing the same thing with me. And then one day we got caught drawing on something, and the guy he owned an art school, and or he was a head teacher at an art school. His name was Michael White.
Yeah.
And he actually, I don't know how he knew my mother or whatever. Or anyway, my mother ended up getting us into his art school, and he took care of it. So my mother took myself and my good friend, who was I call my brother, and she put us both in art school.
Man.
And we were like 11 when we did this. And then next thing you know, we were just like everywhere. We were selling our artwork on the street. We were getting apps to do stuff, competitions. We were in different newsletters, and you know, we were all over the place. And he went really big with the graffiti part, and got into like the comic book stuff. And I wanted to be an illustrator.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting into. I auditioned into high school for art, and I was like, you know, I'll do this. And I really didn't think like I didn't really know much. I just knew I had to go to high school. It was that or the military, you know what I mean? Or actually, it was high school or Job Corps.
Okay.
And I was on a Job Corps. So I was like, okay, I'll go to high school. And, you know, I did the art thing there because it was an art high school. Same one she went to, called Co-op in New Haven.
Okay.
And 1998, I graduated from high school, and graphic design came into play. And like, well, I don't even have a computer, and I don't know how to use that stuff. And I was like, well, my idea of being an illustrator or a comic book artist is gone because they, you know. So I ended up watching TV a lot and seeing the Food Network, because they would do Bob Ross.
Yeah.
I
love Bob Ross.
Remember Channel 13 or PBS?
PBS.
Yeah, PBS was until 4:30. Then after 4:30, it was like Channel 13. So I'm dating myself, damn. But but anyway, so my grandmother,
you're good.
My grandmother, she used to make me watch it all the time, and then she worked at Yale University. And what's crazy is that inside Yale University, the college kids had this tunnel that they would travel to go through from college to college of the university. And they would try to mimic our graffiti work on the wall in that tunnel.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, these people are mimicking our stuff. And I was like, upset, you know?
Yeah.
So later on, I just started getting into the art, and I started watching this stuff on TV. And then I was like, wait a minute, they got Food Network, and these guys are doing like food art.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just knew I could do it. So I said, well, I'm just going to go to school for culinary arts. And then I was like, well, how am I going to do that? Because I didn't have a job. I didn't know anything about cooking. I didn't even like to eat regular food.
Yeah.
So I went and got a job. I kept banging on the door at this restaurant. Got a job at a restaurant. And then I worked for 3 chefs from the 3 top schools.
Oh, wow.
The Cordon Bleu, France, Johnson & Wales, and CIA, culinary.
Holy smokes.
And then they went and wrote my recommendation for college, because I wasn't going to graduate from high school because I was working. I would skip school and go to the restaurant.
Oh, really?
Work. They didn't know I was doing that.
Yeah.
So I would skip school and then go work at the restaurant. And then
you were hustling.
I loved it. Anyway, I ended up going to college for that. And then
where did you go?
I went to Baltimore International.
Okay. Wow.
And
okay, nice. Look at you guys.
Sending the wrong person to a place like Baltimore.
Oh,
and you know, I became a Baltimorean.
Oh yeah.
I would say a Baltimore. You know,
just when he couldn't get more street.
I went.
That
there.
did it.
He went to Baltimore.
That's like the Wire Street.
Yeah, right.
You know what's crazy is that literally, I had walked through the set of The Wire. Didn't know they were shooting it. Because I was like, you guys are telling me cut what? I'm got to do.
You're fitting right in.
The way.
Yeah, they thought you were part of the scene.
I was like, in the way. And so anyway, so yeah, gotta fast forward past that part. Anyway, so
Yeah, you're good.
You're good. The restaurant industry was taxing, and I was doing really, really good.
Yeah.
9/11 had happened, and then right after 9/11 happened, the month later, my dear cousin was killed.
Oh man.
He was gunned down in my hometown.
Oh wow.
And I was just like, I was done. So
Yeah.
I had just kind of like quietly just like worked my way through the industry for about a year and a half and just didn't really have any like real ambition. I got tired of not being home. I was missing everything, every birthday, every celebration, every funeral. I missed everything because I was just working. And I was really good at it.
Yeah.
And one day I got a call to go back to Connecticut, went back to Connecticut, started working in the restaurant industries, was pissed off with the restaurant industry still. A lady by the name of Ilda Velez worked at this store called Bow Concepts. It was a furniture store. I had wanted to buy all this furniture that I ripped apart her studio. And I said, I want this stuff. And she gave me a price and I knew I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
She was like, you want a job? And I was like, yeah, whatever, sure. You know what I mean? Still me not knowing that I'm not a street kid anymore. You know what I mean? She had saw something in me.
Yep.
At the same time this happened is when I found her on the bus. Where my job was across the street from her job.
What?
Both concepts
Really?
was one side of the street and directly across was Jennifer Convertibles.
Yeah,
And she-
that was a furniture store.
You can't make this shit up.
You really can't. This is
You
a
can't make this
movie
stuff
right
up.
here.
Pardon me. And then Ilda Velez, I did martial arts at the time. Come to find out was my master's best friend.
Really?
And I didn't know it until I was getting a belt during one of the ceremonies, and she showed up. And I was like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "You know, this person's my best friend." So I was like, "All right." So anyway, so Ilda Velez got me into interior design, and she really, really believed in me. And then she put me into the school that Bow Concepts had called Bow Concepts University.
Okay.
They worked in a realm of contemporary styling that I loved. And Bauhaus era, from Mies van der Rohe to Frank Lloyd Wright to you name it, Pierre Paulin, all these Pierre Janade, all these different guys I ended up falling in love with their stuff. And that was it. I was done. I hardly ever went back into the restaurant industry. Sometimes just for the adrenaline rush of it.
Yeah.
I just stayed in the interior design world, and I loved it so much that I fought to be in it.
Yeah.
Here I am, inner city street kid in a world of high-end furniture where everybody has $1 million or more. You know what I mean? Which I've never seen. You know, at that age. And I'm a straight inner city Black male in an industry where I don't exist.
Yeah.
There was no one like me.
Yeah.
At all. Like, even when I did see anybody who was minority, they were not straight, and they sure enough weren't from my neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know? So I didn't even know you could have a career in interior design.
Yeah.
So, and so then I just fought to know that field more. And it was a hard go at first. Nobody would trust me. I had too much of an accent. I was a little bit too brash.
Yeah.
So I started learning how to dress better, you know, wear
Change it up. Yeah.
suits, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And I had to be the smartest person in the room, which I know is like the thing you don't do. So I got to a point to where if you walked into my store and you said you lived in an apartment complex, by the time you left, I probably had the blueprints already.
Oh, wow.
I probably already set up an appointment to go see your space. I would know everything I could know about what was going on in your home. And then I would ask them questions about how they started their day, how they ended their day, and I would design around their life. So,
Wow.
This is something.
And,
The uniqueness of it.
on the side end, my father and my grandfather did their carpentry, and I would go with them during the summertime and like work on buildings, and I would learn everything there was to know about construction. So I would go into a home and I would just open it up through my eyes of seeing things. And I would say, okay, you got this, you got that, blah, 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 this, that, the other. And I just had to be like a professional. And then it got to a point where I took it further because I was getting beat out a lot.
Yeah.
Or just over designing. They were designing better than me. They were selling better than me. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to learn about the product.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Got to a point where I learned about the product so much, I could tell you where the trees were coming from. It's serious. And I became top sales in my store for like 4 or 5 years straight.
Oh, wow.
And like within the top 5 for the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah.
And what I would do is they would always tell you, Angel can design a great space for you, but he's going to take you inside the furniture. And I would literally flip over furniture in the store, open it up, show them what's inside of it, tell them why it's there, why they need it, this, that, and the other. It was nuts. It was like a weird addiction, but I knew I had to do that, not to be better than everybody else, but just to be accepted. I wanted to be accepted. You know what I mean? Then later on, I got to a point, I got higher up in the rankings of like interior world and the furniture and stuff like that. And then it got to a point where I couldn't make a sale.
Yeah.
And I'm selling now like sofas that are like $45,000 that we're designing. And I'm doing like these homes in New York where, you know, the apartments in New York and homes in Scarsdale that are $50-60 million.
Yeah.
You know, and I couldn't get anything to fall. And one day I was selling to this Jewish guy, and it's something that brought me back to reality, which made me stop being afraid to be who I was.
Yeah.
Sitting there on the sofa with him and explaining what we're going to do to make it work for his home. And I just got frustrated. And I said, look, man, I said, do you want this shit or what? You know? And I sat back, I put my arm up on the back of the, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. I sit back and I put my arm up on the back of the sofa and I'm looking at him and I'm like, come on, man. I said, this is dope. What do you want?
Yeah.
Like, he looked at me, he pointed at me, he said, I want that. Yes, I'll take it. I want that. I was like, what? He was like, what you just did. I want that. I want to be able to do that with my home.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's me that's selling the stuff. It's not what I'm doing. It's me.
Yeah.
You know, the product didn't even matter anymore. All this, you know, it didn't even matter. They were wanting to buy me.
I love this.
And I was like, okay, that changed everything.
Yeah.
And then I just went nuts. So I couldn't, there was no no's, there was no, it can't happen.
You had the
that.
it factor. Yeah.
And
You
then,
had the factor. You had the it factor. You had it. You could sell anything. You are the one.
Angel, I was like,
man, I was like Bruce Leroy with the glow.
Oh yeah, with the glow. Who's the master?
I
am. Angel, you're gonna love this analogy. When I launched this show and I realized who I was, I kept telling my friend that my friend was Vanity 6 in that movie. You sure look like a master to me, right?
Yeah.
I did that moment like when who's the master, and I said I am. I literally had my Bruce Leroy moment when we started the show. I realized that I was Bruce Leroy. I kid you not. I was watching it that night.
Yeah, man.
Same thing, brother. I'm telling you, kindred souls, man.
Yeah,
kindred souls.
I just love it.
Yeah.
I gotta go grab this mail.
Before he goes, they have to go. But Brandon,
No.
Okay,
It's the mail truck.
Okay, but I wanted to. I'm looking at everything behind you, and I'm so excited. I wanted to see.
Dee, did you want to walk us around and kind of show us?
Yeah, sure. That's what I want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
I'm sorry. I was so anxious looking at everything. I wanted to hear that story from Angel as well.
Yeah,
you guys are wonderful. We're gonna have to have you guys back on too.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
So let's.
Wow! Camera around so they can see everything.
Well, you
can just. I don't care. You flip it around. If you can actually move it. However you want to do it.
Yeah, we'll just do it this way.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm currently in our entrance. Okay. So we're here. So this is our boutique.
Okay. That's nice.
And so we are all about so we are all about just complete ambiance and experience. So right now we do have our music turned down because we're currently filming the podcast. But usually music, we have either like some good neo soul playing, or we'll have some up tempo house or some jazz. It just I got it.
Let me turn it around and I'll film you while you talk.
Okay. He wants to.
I'm gonna turn the camera around.
Okay, that sounds good.
That's great.
Do I know how to do it? Yeah. I did it.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
Great.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect. Yes, that's what we needed.
Perfect.
Yes. So
I love that artwork too.
this is it here. And again, we literally just rearranged the space last night. Now I don't even remember how it looked yesterday, but so we usually have our good music playing, and then typically we have fashion shows playing on the TV, like when it's like Fashion Week. But right now we've been so inspired by just like watching
Milan.
like what folks are wearing like
Down
out
the street.
in Milan and everything. So it's really cool just to kind of have that playing in the background.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah. So
you guys have a really nice place.
It's beautiful.
So we have our clothing.
Fashion.
We still get people drunk when they come in.
Okay.
Yeah. We usually offer you a glass of wine or a glass of champagne, whatever we have open, to as you walk around and enjoy the experience. We have our accessories here. So we like to collaborate with a lot of local vendors, other small businesses here in Charlotte. So we have Heat NYC, which is an amazing eyewear line. So it's really, really cool. We also have this beautiful fragrance called Academia. So it's designed made in Brooklyn, but it was designed here.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
something like
The two guys are from here.
Okay.
And the guy who made the perfume was actually a mixologist.
Ooh.
He was just a bartender, and he just started dabbling with perfumes, made stuff, and then the other gentleman's a photographer who made the box, and they became a group that made this up. They're from Charlotte though, but now one lives in California.
Yes.
Yeah.
We also can't forget about our good friend Khalif. He is
from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
No, the Bronx.
Oh no, yeah, that's right. He's from the Bronx.
Okay.
So he specializes in leather goods. So he handles all of his bags. So he has everything from like the larger totes to the smaller totes to even some clutches, which is also great for iPad cases. So we have that here.
I just love.
Yeah,
And
really.
he does it with graffiti too, but we don't have any more of those.
Okay.
Those got sold fast.
I bet.
Typically here is where we'll have like what I like to call tchotchkes.
Okay.
But we have our good smelling candles that are also locally made here in Charlotte by Nomad.
Okay.
And some other pieces of artwork.
Right. It's an artist, local artist here, Scott DeHart.
Yep.
And also his.
Yes. Also I can't forget my my grandmother. She's also an artist.
Okay.
So we feature some of her pieces of artwork here as well.
Yeah,
she's talented too.
She actually draws these with her pinky.
Yeah, these are
really.
What?
Yeah, she calls these her pinky art. So she painted all of these with her pinky.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's really amazing.
Yeah, so this is inspired by her life and time of living in Jamaica.
Okay.
Okay. Then along this wall here is where you'll see our artwork. So this is our mini.
These look amazing.
Yeah, this is our mini gallery. All of this work that you see here is by an artist. His name is Jay McCain.
Okay.
And I think we mentioned him early on in the interview, but
he
was our second solo artist that we had featured in our previous space.
Yeah,
and
these are all nice.
Bringing him back again at the end of the month for another show.
Okay.
So he's currently working on some more pieces, but this is just like
these are nice.
A good glimpse of what to expect at the upcoming show.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he does a lot of abstract, a lot of layering.
Yeah.
A lot of
expressionism.
Yeah, neo-expressionism. A lot of people that'll come in here and say, "Oh, he reminds me of Basquiat," and yes, he is very influenced by that. But I also feel like Jay has his own identity when it comes to his technique and his work.
Yeah, look at you guys being art people. And I love that about you guys.
Let me say something about that idea of when people say that somebody mimics Basquiat, because there's a certain level of respect that has to go to that. So with art forms are always created, right? You're going to have a lot of things that are happening. So graffiti didn't just come out the blue. There's other things that happened from graffiti, ancient works on walls and so on and so forth. But what Basquiat was able to do, he was able to take a couple of different kind of art forms, from Fauvism to neo-expressionism to impressionism, surrealism, all these different things, and he put them together in a form of contemporary art that became his own unique style that actually, which I'm surprised they haven't acknowledged it yet, but it also took a long time to acknowledge graffiti considered an art form. Basquiat, I believe, in the near future is going to become an art form.
Really?
Have a lot of artists that mimic these techniques that he had with the crowns, with the abstract sharp lines and the ragged deformations of a person, the skeleton face, the words plastered across it, which a lot of people don't understand that this was Basquiat paying homage to who he was, which was Samo.
Yeah.
And he would just write his name and political phrases on walls.
Oh, wow.
So this is something that Jay McCain, as I also, and people in my time, started to embody. So I'm saying that basically to let people know, like, it's okay to let your work resemble Basquiat, the artist.
Absolutely.
He would probably say he resembles Picasso.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It kind of reminds me of that.
So, and that's just giving respect to that artist. So all artists out there who are drawing like this, you are helping to create the style of Basquiatism, which I think we probably call it first, that will be established. And
nice.
Or that is established now. So yeah. Does he resemble Basquiat? Absolutely. He's from that era.
Yeah. I appreciate you breaking that down. I'm loving these art lessons.
Yeah. That's really amazing, Brandon, isn't
it? You both are so amazing. Like, honestly,
unique.
You all are such a blessing and unique, and I'm so glad that we had you guys here today. Yeah, you go to the next one. You're good to the next one.
Okay, yeah. So we have more clothing here.
Okay.
And in terms of the style, I don't think we talk too much about like the style of clothing that we have, but it's definitely more contemporary and unique. I think about my time of living and working in New York on my lunch break, or after work, I would go hit up those small like boutiques, in those like off streets. Yeah. And I still have pieces to this day that I bought in like 2007, 2008, which I'm like, I can't let it go. Like I'm going to wear it until it's the last thread, because it's something that I've never seen before.
Absolutely.
So when I purchase or curate the collections for the boutique, that's what I think about, and that's what I want for our customer.
Absolutely.
I want to feel like, and soon him, because we're going to be bringing in some menswear soon as well.
Okay.
But I want them to come in and feel like, okay, let me just go ahead and get it now, because I know it's, and we also do small batch. Like we don't restock. So once we sell out, we sell out. We keep bringing in something new. And we want them to always feel like excited to come in here and see, okay, well, I was here about a month ago, so I can't wait to see what they have, what they brought in next. Keeping things fresh, just refreshing and unique and eclectic, and set apart, basically. Yeah,
I love that for you guys.
I love
you guys
this show online. I really do, Brandon, because I think what she's just done, a show online of that boutique. And what people, do you ever do that, Dee, and Angel? Just show the clothes online and just sell them like that.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that we are working on is building an online presence. Right. I would say that most of our traffic most of our sales is coming from foot traffic.
Okay.
And so, and even like with us moving into a new space, we had to pretty much kind of start from scratch because we're in a totally different neighborhood.
Yeah.
But aside from the foot traffic, our goal is to truly like increase our online presence. So you will be seeing more of us online. Angel and I, it's weird. It's like we want to express ourselves, but then like we kind of want to be like in the background.
Yeah.
We're two humble people,
Absolutely.
but we also understand that people don't just buy a product, they buy you. Like, they buy your story. They buy who you are.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You know, and so I'm like, Angel, we're gonna have to put ourselves in front of the camera more often, because me being able to like try on, you know, a dress and, you know, twirl and add a little personality to it.
Yeah.
They're like, I want that because she looked good in it. I don't care if I don't look good in it. I want to buy it because she looked good in it, and I like the way she twirled, and I love her smile, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they buy it. And so so that is something that we're gonna start working more on, and and we look forward to that.
Absolutely.
Well, we really love
you guys have it. You guys have that it factor, both of you.
You both do. And I
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. I saw your video and I was so impressed with the video that you had that Tiffany shared with us. And in fact, I sent the video to another mutual friend, and she said she lives in Charlotte. She said, I think I'm going to stop by that boutique. And so that just happened yesterday.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
today, with this, and when Brandon posts everything out there, you will be on 20 different platforms, Brandon?
Yeah, so you guys got a couple things that I did mention to you guys. One, you guys are able to, we transfer you guys the footage too. You're able to use for that however you guys see fit. You have my full, the full permission to do that. We transfer it to people because when people tell their stories, that way you guys can always take out whatever you want or put in whatever you guys want from that. The second part is you guys will be on 20 podcast stations. So I have you on
love it.
20 podcast
That's
stations.
The most exposure we've ever gotten thus far.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then also you'll be on YouTube as well. So the one thing I'll have to have you guys do is, if you guys have Instagram, make sure you send me those handles so I can make sure that you guys can tag me on that or whatever. I can tag you guys or whatever.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
And you guys have been wonderful today.
Yeah. And how can they reach you right now if you want to give a verbal, just your name?
So
first, if you are coming into Charlotte and you want to come visit our boutique, and it just so happens to be a Thursday, we also host for our good friends a Thursday night jazz night.
Oh, nice.
And it's called Mo Better Thursdays because I love Mo Better Blues.
Yeah, I know what it was.
So we did it because he's from the neighborhood. Everybody in here is all local. Our artists, all of our friends, they're all really from here right now. And so we fell in love with our friend Braxton, who actually did our wedding.
Okay.
And there was a need for like a jazz night, a real, systematic jazz night for local artists every week.
Yeah,
so
no frills, just
straight jazz.
Down to earth jazz, yeah.
So we needed a place to also help promote ourselves, and we wanted to have fun.
Okay.
So we put it together, and we put together Mo Better Thursdays. It happens at this place called The Exchange in Noda, 36 in North Davidson. Yeah, East 36th Street in North Davidson. And that's every Thursday night. It's absolutely amazing. Come out and support. You get to meet us. You get to meet the band.
What time does it start?
What time does it start?
So, doors open at 7. The show starts at 8. We recommend to get there closer to 7 because the space is intimate, so the seats fill up quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So, but in terms of reaching us, you can either give us a call or text us 704-737-1991. Or you can reach us on Instagram, which is a.part.meant. Or if you want to send us an email, it's hello@shopapartment.com.
Perfect.
So Brandon will put that on everything.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
Yes, and I'll also text that to you as well.
Yeah, please do.
That's
Yeah, please, I tell people, please do, because it helps me out.
Yes, for sure. You don't have to fast forward all the way to the end of the podcast.
Exactly. Well, you two have been wonderful. And I thank you so much for your time. You guys are just two beautiful people. I'm glad God brought you guys together. I'm glad God brought you guys into our lives because you guys touched me today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're so grateful. Shout out to our customer/friend Tiffany for introducing us to you.
Yeah.
Because I believe she was also a guest on
She was.
So thank you so much for just, highlighting small businesses,
Absolutely.
and giving us a platform to share our dream and our passion to the world. I mean,
Absolutely.
you are definitely doing God's work. So
Okay.
many blessings to you.
So thank you.
You as well, Mama.
Well, many blessings to you as well. And I know God is going to send you so many people.
Yeah.
And you're doing great. You're doing
Thank you
great.
so much.
And much love to you. And so, Brandon, what do we do right about
Well,
now?
before I just want to say this before you close.
Can
back
we
when I was
apologize real quick to those from Charlotte? We don't want to get.
No apologies. No apologies. Why do you
I don't
apologize?
want to apologize for smashing the Charlotte dress.
No,
You know?
No, you're good.
It is what it
You're
is.
still our friend.
Yeah. Angel, first off, we're kindred souls, so don't change for anybody because I never change for anybody. I know you won't either.
That's right.
You know, we're that showing up, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bruce Leroy. And I just want to say that I always said this, I'll make it as quick as possible. I realized that God built me a certain kind of way to be able to handle a certain kind of thing. So when I went into the movie business and I left the East Coast and I went 2,600 miles away to Los Angeles where I didn't know a soul, I didn't know anybody in the movie business. I knew that God put me on that mission to be able to one day help out people and to be able to put them on a platform. Because of what I went through and then me building my career in New York, Atlanta, New Orleans, Miami, Pittsburgh, I'm all over the United States and Mexico with work. I'm like, now that we have that platform, I'm going to help out people that need to be seen because I know what that feels like not to be seen. So that's why I tell my theme song is Johnny Cash. I hear a train coming. It's because I'm not going to be stopped by anybody with what I'm trying to do and the people I'm trying to help. And we're going to push each other together forward. So
That sounds great.
but
Thank
yeah,
you.
so that being said,
Here we go. All right, let's go.
You guys have been wonderful. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. And get back home. Say, if you threw the power off, throw it too.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have that? I was like, okay.
Yes.
All right, you guys take care now.
All right.
Brandon, they were so
Okay.
amazing.
Well,
Thank
they're
you
amazing.
so much.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, thank you.